281 and 282 in your language books. And to start out this morning, we're going to review the different kinds of sentences. So I'm going to describe the sentence first, and then I would like you to tell me what kind of sentence it is. Remember that there are 4 different kinds of sentences: declarative, exclamatory, interrogative, and imperative. So let me describe a sentence, and then you tell me what kind of sentence it is. So the first one, this sentence ends with a period and makes a statement. What kind of sentence ends with a period and makes a statement? A declarative sentence. A declarative sentence ends with a period and makes a statement. I actually have 2 declarative sentences on the board. They tell you something. They tell you something that happened. The next kind of sentence ends with a question mark and asks a question. What kind of sentence ends with a question mark and asks a question? An interrogative sentence ends with a question mark and asks a question. Remember how the policeman interrogates somebody? He asks them questions to find out what happened. So interrogate is a root word of interrogative. An interrogative sentence asks a question and ends with a question mark. The next kind of sentence ends with an exclamation point and shows strong emotion. Ends with an exclamation point and shows strong emotion. That would be an exclamatory sentence. An exclamatory sentence ends with an exclamation point and shows strong emotion, or maybe surprise, or strong feeling about something. Like, the dog just jumped off the cliff. That would be a reason to use an exclamation point. And our last kind of sentence. This kind of sentence usually ends with a period and gives a command. What kind of sentence is that? Imperative. An imperative sentence usually ends with a period and gives a command. You go to bed. That would be an imperative sentence. Today's lesson, we're learning about another kind of word, another kind of describing word. You've been learning about adjectives the last number of lessons, and adjectives describe what? Adjectives describe nouns. A noun is a person, place, or thing, and an adjective, we've learned so far that an adjective can tell what kind of person, place, or thing, or it can tell how many people, places, or things. So there are also little words that can describe that can describe verbs. A verb shows action, we've learned so far. The beaver swam. Swam is a verb. Let me just underline that. The beaver swam. Beaver is our noun, our subject noun. What did the beaver do? The beaver swam. Swam is a verb. Now, adverbs answer the question, how? How did the beaver swim? The beaver swam quietly. Quietly is our adverb. It's called an adverb. Let me write that up here on the board. Adverbs describe verbs. They actually have verb as part of the word. So maybe that will help you to remember what adverbs describe. Adverbs describe verbs. How did the beaver swim? The beaver swam quietly. That tells you how the beaver swam. The elk bugled loudly. Our subject noun is elk. What did the elk do? The elk bugled. Bugled is our verb. And how did he bugle? The elk bugled loudly. Loudly is an adverb. Bugled loudly. Now in your books today, you're going to be writing some adverbs on page 281. For number 1, your instructions are to read the sentences and write the verb and the adverb on the blank. So for our example sentences, let me erase some of this to make it plainer what you should do. See if I can erase it without erasing my words too much. You'll have sentences that have the verb underlined twice. Your verbs are underlined twice in these sentences in number 1. Your job is to find out what the adverb is. We already know that the adverb in this sentence is quietly. Quietly tells how the beaver swam. It describes the verb. On the blank, you will write quietly swam. Excuse me. Excuse me again. We don't think I have the coronavirus. Alright, the beaver swam quietly. How did the beaver swim? Quietly swam. That is what you would write on the blank. You're going to write an adverb and the verb it describes. So for the next sentence, the elk bugled loudly. How did the elk bugle? Loudly. On your blank, you would write loudly bugled. Does that make sense to everybody? If you have questions, ask your moms. Number 2, you will be coming up with your own adverbs to describe the verbs in those sentences. And number 3, how many ways can you speak? Those ways are adverbs. And you can write those on the line. So I speak politely. They gave an example. You could say I speak softly. I speak loudly. I speak with, no, that's not going to work. I speak expressively. Those are some examples, so you can see what you come up with and try to fill in all those blanks.